national development, peace, a catalyst for national development. And my guests are already seated. I'm going to go straight and introduce them. Sitting across me, a man we have met on this platform before, Reverend Dr. Cyril Faizi. He is the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Rev, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And it's a pleasure to have you again.
It's good to see you again.
Great. Now, on my immediate left is a new face I'm seeing for the first time. He's Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Mazouk Azindu. He happens to be the personal assistant of the National Chief Imam. You are also welcome.
Thank you, madam.
I know behind the scene you are talking about Sheikh, that I should leave it out and all of that. But this is protocol.
Sure.
So we'll just keep it at that and then and welcome you again. We are grateful that we are here to discuss those all-important subjects of peace as a catalyst for national development, especially in the light of all that's been going on, which seeks to threaten the peace that we're enjoying, and especially now that the election is around the corner, a lot more of us are concerned. So we're hoping that at the end of the discussion, new strategies will be unearthed going forward. Now let me start with you, Rev Faizi. Speaking about the Christian Council, I read that you are about 91 years old.
That's correct.
It means your existence predates our current Ghana as we have it in our current form. Let's do a little, tracing of its early days. Refresh our minds. How was it back then? The Christian Council, what led to its formation and how its workings are and its membership and all of that. Give us an idea. Thank
you very much. Yes, the Christian Council of Ghana is 91 years old. Just last October, it turned 91. The Christian Council was primarily formed for the unity of the churches. The church that came to Ghana came from different strands. So they seem to be not on the same page. They seem to have their own different doctrines. So the primary reason for forming the council is to bring all these different churches together. And it's based on a biblical mandate that Jesus' prayer that the church should be one. When Jesus Christ was about to ascend into heaven, his prayer for us is that the church should be one, as he and the Father are one. But the oneness is just not for the sake of unity. We become one so that we can do advocacy. We can speak truth to power. We can engage in social action. We can talk about peace, for instance, right? Because we are people of peace. So that at the end of the day, we do all these things. We can engage in health and education. So at the end of the day, there will be development in our nation. So that is the primary purpose for the establishment of the council, for the unity. And once we are united, we have a deeper voice, a stronger voice, to be able to challenge the issues and the authorities that be. Okay, that's a great point there. Doctor,
yes,
you said I should drop the Sheikh for now. So I will try and drop it for now. In the light of what Rev has said, that seeking the unity of the various groupings of churches and all of that, I think that somewhere along the line, looking at the progression of our religious beliefs and the coexistence of other religious bodies, ecumenicalism also reared its head in a beautiful way. At what point did that surface? I mean, speaking from the Muslim perspective.
Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours, and thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for dropping the title Sheikh in the interest of humility.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yes, even when it goes contrary to your protocols there.
Once we observed it by the initial introduction.
Sure.
After that, yes, I'll do your bidding.
All right, that is very important. From the submission of my uncle, you realize that the Christian Council is older than the birth of the Republic of Ghana. It means that in the era of colonialism, it fought for the survival and well-being of Ghanaians. In the era of post-independence, it continues the fight. I think that history of this country is replete with instances where you can see the Christian community as a weapon against colonialism. Then after independence, the Christian Council membership, and I'm referring to the various denominations, were able to come out with certain values that are critical to the survival of a sovereign nation. And I'm talking of education. Think about the various schools established by the various member organizations. Thinking of health, there's no nation without health. Think about the hospitals and clinics. Talk about the economic ventures. Talk about other nation-building values. So the Christian Council has been very well established, and we are all thankful. In the interest of religious solidarity, interfaith harmony, as you have rightly said, Muslims in this country recognize the existence of the Christian Council, and we are fortunate to have a leader who is a synonym of peace, and that is His Eminence the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Osman Sharuptu. He recognizes interfaith harmony, and for that reason, he has decided to be with the Christian Council in service to nation, in service to humanity. Fantastic. And that is why that is why at all times, whatever Christian Council comes out with in service to the nation, it extends it to His Eminence, and His Eminence will command us to respect it as much as possible. So It is true. I think in the independence Ghana, we've seen how some countries have not been able to manage interfaith very well. Yeah. But Ghana is an example.
Yes,
the credit is for the Christian Council and for the Muslim leadership.
We thank God.
Particularly His Eminence the National Chief Imam.
Great. We thank God and we thank Allah for that. So picking up from where Dr. has just left off, a lot of strides has been achieved by the council, predating independence, post-independence, up to this date, where we are now. As a General Secretary, what have you identified as some of the bottlenecks to your workings?
Bottlenecks. Let me add a few things to what he has said in terms of the historical details.
Okay.
And then I'll come to some bottlenecks. To add to that, the Christian Council was very much involved in the fight for independence, as he rightly pointed out. Most of what we call the Big Six in Ghana, I'm sure majority of them belong to the Christian Council of Ghana churches. And their formation may have taken place in Christian Council of Ghana member church institutions, educational institutions, and so on. They were even members of the Christian Council of Ghana churches. So before independence, the Christian Council of Ghana was very much engaged in the fight for freedom and justice. And then after independence, after the First Republic, we went into the military regimes. And during the military regimes, it was very difficult for people to speak up. But the church spoke up. And that led to the transition to democratic rule again. The church in this case is the Christian Council of Ghana and also the Catholic Bishops' Conference. Let me add that to it. Together we spoke up. There were times when the powers that be tried to create a separation between the Christians and the Muslims. So it was also very critical that we collaborate with our Muslim brothers and sisters. And so that led to the interfaith relations and the interfaith harmony that we enjoy in Ghana. What are the bottlenecks? The number one bottleneck for me today, as I sit in the position of the General Secretary of the Christian Council, is research. Because the issues that are cropping up today are a bit more complex. They are not as easy. You can take any of the many issues on the news media, on the news today. Many of those issues, things like the recent registration, whether we should have it, new registration, whether we should have it or not, the energy issues like the PDS issue. those issues we must do a lot more research before we can speak to them. But usually people expect us to speak as soon as the things are happening. And sometimes we don't have that capacity. We have to, Christian Council is an established institution, it's an old institution. And so when we speak, we must speak with authority and with evidence. We shouldn't speak lightly, but sometimes people tend to push us. So that's one of the major bottlenecks.
So if I understand what you just said, it means that research from your end.
Yes, we must continue to do research and understand the issues before we make pronouncements on them.
Okay. So how are you solving that problem?
Well, we have a research department. We have a group of persons, resources within the churches, the member churches of the Christian Council, that we draw on as and when necessary. If it's a political issue, we go to those people who have knowledge in the field, and so they advise us. But we need to be swifter than we are now.
Okay.
And that is what I'm advocating for.
All right. Is there something else you want to tell us regarding bottlenecks? Because I want us to now talk about the upcoming campaign that you're going to roll out. Is there something else in addition to research?
Well, apart from research, everything boils down to finances. You know.
Doctor is smiling at that.
Everything boils down to finances, and finance is one of the major issues. If you want to have a good research team, if you're able to fund that process, so we depend on a lot of development partners to partner us, sometimes fund. In fact, some of the peace campaigns that we even have right now are funded by development partners, not by the Christian Council or the Christian Council member churches.
Doesn't government?
So finances.
Government?
No, government doesn't.
Government does not fund.
No, the Christian Council, no. Christian Council is an independent, if you like, private religious organization.
But his government is interested in peace and everything.
Yes.
That go with it. Why?
Well, we have
that
partnerships.
Goes with it. Why not?
We have partnerships with government. If you take the area of health and education, for instance, we build the schools, but the government pays the staff of the school, or the government funds the running of the schools. The same thing with health. We have a number of hospitals all over the country, and the government funds the running and the management of those hospitals. So there's some partnership, but not giving money directly to the council itself. Yeah.
I see. And that is a challenge. I don't know, going forward, what they can do about that. But that notwithstanding, you have been able to carry out your mandate up to this point. And yes, Doctor, you want to add something?
Yes, a hidden challenge that Reverend may not even consider as one is that largely the public seems not to understand the dynamics of the operations of the Christian Council and of course any other religious body, and that is a very big problem. He talks about research. Any credible research, qualitative or quantitative, cannot be a rush project.
Exactly.
It needs a reasonable period of time so that its validity can be accurate, its result can be acceptable, its impact can be well meaningful. But the public seem, especially because we are dealing with a field that is politics, that is emotionally related, you know, not reasoning, is influenced by emotions. Anything that happens, larger members of the public want the Christendom or the Muslim community to go into a rush. I mean, and when we do that, definitely we are disappointing ourselves, disappointing God, disappointing the knowledge community, and disappointing the Republic of Ghana. We cannot do that. We need to establish the veracity of whatever happens. So there is the need for us to educate the public, to understand the dynamics of the operation of the Christian and other religious bodies. And then we'll be able to let the people understand what we can do within a specific period of time and what they should also do in a manner of collaboration, so that at the end of the day we are all satisfied with what happened and with what we have done as a solution.
Doctor, you have put it succinctly and more clearly, and I can identify with the point you have just made. But I think that the other concern also is that it seems at times groups such as yourselves quite upfront when issues come up, but then in other times you're a bit slow to respond.
Yes.
I don't understand why that becomes the case.
Yes.
Let's say please, if you understand, then just go ahead and
yes,
and
I do appreciate your concerns, but then we also need to understand the differences of issues. For instance, if there is any issue, I'm just giving an example. If there is an issue of electoral violence in a particular community, generally we can come out instantly to condemn electoral violence.
Exactly.
But if there is a serious allegation against a politician or a credible person or a person in position, we definitely need time to investigate the allegation, establish the veracity of it, and act on it. We cannot instantly come out to condemn a person based on allegation. But if there is violence, definitely we can come out to condemn that violence. If, for instance, we hear gunshots at a police station, we may not be interested in who is firing the shots, but our primary concern will be total condemnation
of the act.
Beyond the condemnation, we need to establish the veracity of those behind it. Then we can continue the condemnation or even refer the matter to the appropriate courts. We are not police. We do not have the constitutional right to handle matters of criminal nature. So the best we can do is to condemn and then refer or recommend to the appropriate agencies to act.
Doctor, exactly the concern that you have so beautifully explained.
Thank you.
Even the condemnation does not come as early as it does in other jurisdictions, other situations.
Well,
Even the condemnation, the concern out there is that even the condemnation, as you have explained, does not come as early as it does in other situations.
well, we are.
I don't know if you get the point.
Yeah,
I'm
I
making.
do.
The condemnation you just alluded to.
Yes.
That is the initial step you can take.
Yes.
Does not come as
Yes.
quickly as it ought to.
Sure.
And so people begin to call out, where are these bodies? Where are these bodies? Why are they silent?
Yes.
Why are they not condemning and all of that? Then we hear your voices.
Sure.
That is not good enough, is it?
Yes, I believe so. But then, as humans, we are bound to have our own weaknesses. We may not act in line with the aspirations of the people. In certain instances, definitely we are human beings, so definitely we have our fair share of human weaknesses. But then, when we are talking about the condemnation and all those things, definitely we also have to measure the time. What is instant to the public may not be instant to us in view of the nature of our operations.
Really?
But then having listened to you, we are not just coming to tell you what we want. We are also coming to learn from you. This is a dialogue.
Yes.
I think we will consider that one as a major point that we may try as much as possible to address.
Thank you.
Because our operation is not to serve ourselves.
Exactly.
It's to serve the law
Yes.
and to serve the humanity.
Yes.
So we've taken, it's well noted.
Thank you.
Well,
because sometimes it becomes like an afterthought.
Yeah.
It becomes like, oh, we have called you out to your responsibility
Sure.
before you're living up to it.
Yes.
So the impact is not really felt
Well, I tend
when
to,
it happens like that.
That's
So I
true.
thank you for
I
your...
think I want to disagree slightly with you.
Okay,
we
Rev, go ahead.
We have condemned when issues are quite clearly negative or wrong. In the case of the shooting during the recent registration, we came out and condemned the fact that it was not right for a sitting member of parliament to wield a gun or her supporters wielding a gun. We condemned it. We condemned it almost immediately because some of those issues are quite
that's
clear.
actually the point, almost immediately. That's where That's the fulcrum
you
of
see,
this point.
we are not a media house. We are not. We do other things. Our primary job is not to comment on current national issues. That's not our primary job. Our primary job is so many other things. Our members.
I thought your primary job is to work towards maintaining of peace, and therefore if there's anything, any happening, any occurrence that threatens that peace, should be your primary concern.
It is our concern,
Okay, so
but I'm saying it's not our primary job in the sense that we do other things. Let me give you an example. The persons who are going to sit to take a decision on how to act on a particular issue are heads of churches. So they are administrators of their churches. They have a series of things they do. So you don't just get up in the heat of the moment to speak.
Okay.
You have to meet, think about the issue, especially when it is not so clear.
Okay, right.
So there's a process. It's not an instant thing. So
right.
we are not like the media houses where you are constantly...
We are trying to understand your workings, right?
Exactly.
It's all part of the education.
Exactly.
Right?
You are constantly working on the current issues. We take the current issues, mull it over, think about it, and then come up.
Maybe your timing of mulling over is too long.
So
but quickly, Doctor, then we can move on to the peace campaign.
There's a point
itself.
all of us are missing, and we need to understand very well. The adjective urgent or immediate is very relative.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a word of relative connotation to different people in different contexts.
Exactly.
Anything that happens will be received differently. The person who wants it will receive it perhaps in a state of reasoning. A person who does not like it will receive it in a state of emotions. So we need to understand that what is immediate to the public may not be immediate to us. Even though we are not going for the biblical or Quranic soon, when the world will come to an end very soon. So we also need to understand that. In as much as we want to...
That point is still questionable, but let's progress.
But let me make it clear. In as much as we want to accept our weaknesses, we also want the public to understand the relative connotative nature of immediacy or urgency.
All right then. Thank you. Thank you very much for this. And then we are still holding you to the promise you made. Now let's talk about the new group that has been formed. It is called Eminent Persons Group of Religious Leaders. Eminent Persons Group of Religious Leaders. Why? What led to its establishment?
Yes, thank you very much. This is not the first time we are establishing the Eminent Persons Group. We have established Eminent Persons Group since the establishment of the Fourth Republic. So every election year, elections in Ghana always increases tension because it's a competition of ideas and of wills. So once there's competition, there's some kind of hostility. Friendly as it may be,
right?
There's some kind of hostility. So tensions rise, and it is important for us, if we are going to maintain peace before, during, and after the elections, to put some measures in place. So we, in partnership with our development partners, set up the Eminent Persons Group of Religious Leaders, and these religious leaders cut across the religious divide. Okay. So there are Christians and there are Muslim religious leaders. It's a group of 21 members. Yeah. And their primary job is to engage all the major stakeholders in the upcoming elections. The political parties, the EC, the media, the security apparatus, and so on and so forth, the youth of the country, and so on and so forth. And the idea is, in these engagements, we'll be able to calm down tensions, we'll be able to speak to them to do the right thing. The political parties should be decorous in their pronouncements and so on. And if we're able to do that, then we believe that there'll be peace. before, during, and after the elections.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So I'll be coming to you. You want to ask something because I want to make a follow-up question. So these 21 eminent religious leaders, are they from the Christian Council? Are they members from the council?
They are from the Christian Council and from other
Religious.
ecumenical
What I want to
councils.
understand, yes,
and then from other religions as well.
yes, I can understand the other religions, but I'm saying that those that are of Christian descent, are they from the council, or they are from other, outside the council, but Christians?
Some of them are from the council, and then some of them are from outside the council.
Okay.
But they also have their own councils.
Okay.
So there are some from GPCC,
Okay.
the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council,
Okay.
from NAC,
All right.
National Association of Charismatic Christian Charismatic Churches, and so on. So all the councils are represented.
All right. Doctor, Reverend said that their primary task will be to engage stakeholders, and he mentioned them. What form of engagement are we talking about? Is it the one that you sit around a table and talk about it, or there's something else you're going to be doing?
Well, we are in a modern society, and therefore we are definitely going to use modern ways of engagement. Face-to-face engagement is one. Using the technology to engage them is another. Using the media to be the intermediary between us and them is one, and that is exactly what we are
Like
doing.
mass broadcasting,
Yes.
live broadcasting.
And then another one is the issuance of press releases and press statements.
Okay.
I think we can categorize engagement into two main ones:
Okay.
the specific and the general.
Okay.
Sometimes when you are even engaging the voting public, you are by implication engaging the political parties themselves. So whatever we are doing here is a kind of engagement.
Yes.
And this is general. There is another form in which we engage them in a closed door meeting, so that we understand their aspirations, we understand their concerns, and then we can fashion out modalities, we can fashion out measures to be able to address the concerns in the supreme interest of the nation.
Okay.
What we also want to emphasize here is that the establishment of that eminent group is to emphasize the non-political, non-partisan nature of the religious society. And when we say non-political, non-partisan, that does not mean that we do not have the civic responsibility to participate in the election.
In the elections, right.
Civic responsibility is one thing, partisan activism is another.
Yeah.
When it comes to civic responsibility, we are on the forefront. Partisanship, no, we are not. We are not in the arena of partisanship. We still have the responsibility to belong to political parties of our choices and to participate in the electoral process. But we will do so in a manner of unity.
Right.
Because we see the various political parties as vehicles on the road to democracy and then to the destination of patriotism.
Okay.
So we emphasize patriotism over partisanship. And that's exactly what we want people to understand.
Okay.
If we want to do so, then we have to convince everybody that we are in for one thing, that is for the welfare of Ghana.
Okay.
And therefore, we must have the trust of all the competing political parties.
All right. Thank you. Those campaign has the headline theme, Peace, a Catalyst for Development. And you have dubbed the campaign, Say Yes to Peace.
Yeah.
How are you going to, carry out this message, promote it, push it out there, and let everybody, especially the political actors,
Yes.
As they are stepping out, as they are engaging themselves, that they will have in mind that peace is indeed a catalyst for development and that they should say yes to it. How will you see, is there something different you're going to be doing? Like when you engage them, for instance, is there something you're going to get them to commit to? Because they themselves, when they become, bearers of the message, will then be able to transmit to their followers, who usually are used to commit these acts of vandalism.
Yes. I think I heard just this morning that the political actors at Ododo had, especially the NDC and the NPP leaders over there, had committed or had said yes to peace, and they had warned their members to desist from any acts of violence, and that they will not hesitate to hand them over to the security apparatus if they should engage in such acts of violence. That is our primary job. So when we sit around the table, at the end of the day, we want the political actors to commit to peace. But we are not dealing only with the political actors. Our security as a nation is a multifaceted issue. Several of us, it's a collective responsibility. As individuals, as media houses, as security officers, as political actors. I mean, all of us are involved one way or the other. So we engage these different facets. So when it comes to politicians, we say, well, you have to watch the way you talk. You must use a language that breeds peace. Your supporters must be called to order, and then you must be seen, and you must actually commit to peace. That's for the political actors. We come to the media. Sometimes the media can hype certain issues that will also raise tensions, and so the media should also be decorous in its broadcasts and so on. And then we deal with sometimes certain particular groups in the society, and when we engage them again, we talk about how peace is essential for the development of the nation. So we must do everything in our power to maintain peace.
All right.
We should not allow anyone to use us to commit violence during the elections.
Yes, we should not allow anyone to use us to commit violence. And Doctor, I'm coming to you. Most of these violence that are being perpetrated are being perpetrated by young people.
Yes.
And I keep asking myself, why have we degenerated to this level as a youth of this country? Why can't we just say no to a politician who comes to hire us to commit atrocities against ourselves? Why can't we say no?
I think the unfortunate situation is due to a number of factors. One, our lack of understanding of the dynamics of democratic governance. Two, unemployment. Three, partisanship over patriotism. And four, the inability of the youth themselves to understand the difference between civic responsibility and political loyalty. And if you look at all these things, I normally say that we, the youth of today, belong to a very sad generation.
We belong to a sad generation. Very sad generation.
Sure.
You've even qualified the verb.
Yes, very sad generation. We seem not to care about what we are expected to know and what we are expected to do. And we are used as the apparatus of evil because we do not understand our privileges and our rights. Most of the youth think that you must belong to a political party. Even within that political party, you must have a godfather. Even that godfather should be a very cruel person who should use you, yes, in a very negative manner. You should be part of the firewood for the political inferno. If you do not at all do what the negative thing that he wants, and sometimes godmother, let me put it that way, because we are now in a world of gender equality. Either godmother or godfather. Right. If you don't do what he or she wants, definitely you cannot even survive within that political party. And that is why we see the youth as the forefront in the political violence. Why do you and I see instances of awarding the youth who are very good at political insults? People have become ministers in this country because of their mastery of political insults. People have occupied juicy positions because of their mastery of political insults. People have been able to get juicy appointments either at the party level or at the national level because of their efficiency in verbal vandalism. And if we allow such a culture to happen, definitely it becomes a very lucrative source of survival for the youth. In a situation where there is unemployment, what do you expect the youth to do? Today it is clear that if you want to become rich overnight, you need to belong to a political party. It is not good, it is not bad for the youth to be engaged in political activism, but it is very wrong for the youth to be used as apparatus of violence. And that is why it is important for all of us to understand that we have a civic responsibility. First of all, to ensure civic education, citizenship education, democratic education, and for the youth of all the political parties to understand that their ultimate objective should be the welfare of the Republic of Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll give the final word to Rev. This month of November, you're having a lot of media engagement. Can you reiterate for us the campaign, how you expect us to carry ourselves, and what your expectations are, and then your closing remarks, so we can call it a morning.
All right. Thank you very much. At the end of the day, we have only one Ghana. We are one people with a common destiny. There is Togo to the east, Cote d'Ivoire to the west, Burkina to the north, and the sea to the south.
Exactly.
And I don't speak French. I don't think you speak French. And I don't know how to swim. So, and in any case, I can't swim for a very long time in the sea. So it is extremely important that we do everything in our power to maintain peace in our different spheres of influence. So if you're in the media, if you're in the security, if you're in religion, but I would like to say that the church is an organization that promotes good and peace. Our Lord Jesus Christ says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth. They shall be called children of God."
Children of God.
They shall be called children of God. Yes. Blessed are the peacemakers, because they shall be called children of God. And he says that my peace I leave with you. So my expectation is that all of us will say yes to peace. All of us will commit to peace before, during, and after the election in our different spheres of influence.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Rev and Doctor, finally I can say Sheikh.
Thank you.
I have been speaking. Across me is Reverend Dr. Cyril Fayezi. He happens to be the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. And with him is Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Mazouk Azindu. He is the personal assistant to the National Chief Imam. And we have been speaking on the topic peace, a catalyst for national development, and they are rolling out a campaign. Say yes. Wherever you are, raise up your hand and join me to say yes.
Yes to peace.
Yes to peace. Yes to peace. And Ghana will win.
Ghana will win.
But say thank you and good morning to the Chief Imam for us.
All right.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
All right, so the show will continue after this break. Please stay and enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are grateful.
We've done 45 minutes already of every nation's development.
And this is why when Jesus was leaving the earth, he did not leave us with any material things. He did not leave us with money. He only left us with peace.
We have enjoyed peace in Ghana for the last 20 plus years. We must do everything in our power to protect it.
The laws of Ghana requires everyone to respect the rights of others, irrespective of their choices.
Enuanom abato bir eduribio Ghana de hinitira yeye yankopon ache he na asomdwe ohia de emi na owoyebo dam asomdwe no ho ban da minti bira ye o mi ma obiara man ho kwan ma amanyafo mpiempia he nko besabesa ye bia ne ye ho.
Ghana man eyo man anyame ahira yen pa o ne se ya mosa enhira yi ho ban na ye totro no se na efiri yensa enchirima emfaye bone enche ye da
anya nwe ka hia kaka hia ba miawe na unchi ba fama
So as we all march up to December 7th to elect our presidential and parliamentary candidates,
Vote peacefully. I say yes to peace, and I urge you to do same.
Zantis Hudu Katangbamali.
Media, Jinaho Masunji.
Tunjole, Watawo.
Nya, Mahwe, Tuaji, Ba, Mawadona Chwafa.
I say yes to peace.
Any day, Mijahoma Asomudi, also Pirma Asomudi.
I stand for peace, and I want to commit myself to peace, and to work for peace, and to pursue peace.
Omako